Hey guys, coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Float, Odyssey, Telegram, Twitch, and on Thursdays, the Prepper Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim, and today is August 21st, 2022, and this is episode 158 of the Workshop Podcast. So today will be part one of a two-part series. I did a 2-hour live stream with John Willis. I thought that's just a little too long to leave as one episode. Most times 2-hour episodes, just a little overwhelming. So we're going to do first hour today, second hour tomorrow. Real quick, we'll get our announcements out of the way. If you want a way to support the workshop and the work that I do, patchofthemonth.co, run by that website. You will get a sometimes humorous, often politically incorrect, tactical or morale patch of the month with Velcro on it, so you can swap them out on your wallets, on your water bottle holders, and on your hats. If you're looking for one of those, I ship them to you every month with a new design. Rather excited. It's kind of fun. It's taken off, and thanks everybody for the support for that so far. And number 2, join the Telegram group. If you are not part of the Telegram group, why not? If you're part of the workshop community and you haven't come by there yet, even if you don't use Telegram, come by, download the app, and join. It is the best place for all of us to interact. It's just a great time all around. And today's tool, this one is a little bit different. I almost always only list tools that I have used, but I came across a deal on a DURMAX 4850 watt dual fuel generator on Amazon that was too good to turn down. So I put it out on social media and I said, listen guys, I don't know this product, and everybody said they really like the DURMAX. So first off, regular price $600 on Amazon. Right now, I'm looking at it right on Amazon, $230. So I put my money where my mouth was and I ordered it. I have the link in the description for you if you're interested. It's not an endorsement. I'm just telling you this is a killer deal on what sounds like a pretty good generator. I got one coming. I'm going to run it through its paces. I'm sure the deal won't last very long, but I had to get it out there so you guys could hear about it. Okay, guys, so like I said, we're going to do 2 parts. First hour in this episode, and tomorrow come back for hour number 2. So I hope you enjoy the conversation I had with John Willis as much as I enjoyed it. It was so much fun. The 2 hours flew by. We talked about everything between tools, starting over in business, content creation, and everything else under the sun. Hey guys, we are here. Something a little different. I usually do a little intro, but I got John on here now, so let's hop right in. How are you, Mr. Willis?
I'm good, man. I'm great. How are you?
Not bad at all. Did you get any shit done this weekend?
We did. We got a lot of stuff done on the property here. Took off a couple times. We went and picked up a trailer load of 1x6 tongue and groove pine.
Nice.
Some super duper black paint for the walls. We're setting up a recording podcast studio. So starting that build out. Ran around looking for all of the new Milwaukee M12 fuel stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to get right now. And it's kind of deceptive. Like you go to Home Depot and it shows that they have the impact driver and hammer drill, but it doesn't, like it's kind of shitty of them not to put on their packaging Gen 2, Gen 3. And so while you're buying this stuff, thinking it's the new stuff, it is not the new stuff. And I mean, I get it. If they had it all sitting there packaged, nobody's going to buy that old unless they put it on a drastic sale. But I've been chasing this stuff, and I think I'm just going to buy it online, like from Ohio Power Tool.
Are they pretty good to deal with?
Jake of all, his whole entire channel is Milwaukee stuff. He promotes them huge. They are a huge online tool dealer, and they have they have stuff that you've never even seen, and a lot of other brands as well.
I got to see, being in Canada, I always feel out of the loop with all those good distributors, you know. We got a couple good ones up here. I buy a lot of the lawn attachments for the power head for DeWalt. You take the trimmer apart. So, and you can't buy them. You can't go into a store and buy that kind of shit, you know, so you got to order it. But do you like the M12?
I don't know, man. I'm watching all these pipeline videos, and a lot of the stuff is saying that the new M12 outpowers the last season's M18 stuff. And that compact is just so small. So, I mean, I've got, I've got all the giant stuff for, we're going to the other side of the property and we're going to run all day, or we're going to put it in trucks and not have to worry about it for a couple weeks,
Yeah.
And then I've got the small stuff too. But I feel like for inside and just moving around, like hanging this on your belt with this big ass battery, like that thing's there. It's smacking you in the leg. And the new compact, and I've got all the 18, I've got the M18 stuff too. And this is an M18 compact here compared to the DeWalt. But that 12 is like half the size. And they're breaking 550 pounds of bolts with them and stuff. And I'm not even going to use it as a breaker. I'm just going to use it as a drill and screws. Just not a drill, just a driver. Impact driver.
Everybody who follows me know I'm a black and gold kind of guy, but I get sucked in. There was a video on Instagram the other day, and I hadn't seen it. It's an M12. They call it a stick pump. The thing's about 3 feet high.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm getting one. So that'll be my first red and black. That is, just one thing. For instance, I go in, I got to change a toilet out of a rental, right? What do you do with that water? I got one of them little suction pump, like little suction pumps, and you got to 8-10 times, and then you got to throw a friggin' towel down in there and hope you don't leak all over the floor. And I think it'd even work for cleaning out a hot tub. They said it was, I want to say 10 gallons a minute or something out of that little thing, which isn't bad. You're never in a hurry.
I've seen them. We use I have a bilge pump, just a manual pull pump, and we use them several times a year where we have a broken water line, and then we have terminations. Every time we run a line, I always put a termination in near the L or the T. So when that sucker breaks, we don't have to unpressurize the whole property of water.
Oh.
So we set them in like 6-inch PVC pipe.
Yeah.
And they're about 24 to 30 inches down. Inevitably, when that thing breaks, it's in the middle of winter and it's full of cold water, or it's been in a storm and it's full of water. So to drain those, it's a lot easier to drain those and then get down there. A lot of times we have them where you can just barely touch them. So we have a prong tool, or we take a piece of PVC pipe and notch it, and then we can just turn it and turn that water off.
That's almost like a city shut off. That's friggin' ingenious.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I had some crackheads here in town that were squatting in a bank property that I had to repossess. And they went, it goes down about 6 feet for the town ones, right? The town kept shutting the water off on them. They went and took a deep well socket, drove it down in with a hammer and a stake, and got it right on there, broke the fitting, or broke it into the fitting so the town couldn't shut the water off. And if they did, they just turn it back on.
Yeah, they call that theft of services here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they actually enforce that here in this small town. We'll have employees go to court or whatever, so we'll go to court to see if we need to bail them out. And it's small town, like very Jerry Springer stuff here.
Yeah.
Wednesday court, it is literally like a TV show. And there's always people in there getting charged and, fined and put in jail for theft of services. Always.
Seriously?
Yeah.
For like water or whatever,
Running on water, because the city, they'll put a lock on it.
Yep. Okay.
So then they'll cut that lock to be able to turn that valve. And here, when they turn your power off here, they actually pull your meter.
Oh shit! Okay.
So to put your power back on, you're at risk of life. I mean, you're doing some serious, dangerous shit trying to jump that power.
We got. So, do you guys have natural gas down there or no?
We do. Yeah, I have a huge natural gas coming in.
Oh, I fucking love natural gas. But they put these little barrel locks, like how they got a quarter turn ball valve. Well, Anyway, these guys drilled through that, of course, because that's easy enough. And then they were stealing power from the next door. Because see here, when things freeze, everybody's got to plug their vehicles in, right? So everybody has outdoor plugs. So of course they were stealing power. Oh, they had power, they had heat, they had water. They were living the high life, man. I'm telling you.
Yes. Yep.
How big's Camden?
It's about 3,000 people. Benton County. That'll swell. How big is it? It's pretty big. Like it's deceptively big. The city is pretty small. I don't know how really big it is.
Okay.
But like Benton County runs all the way from the interstate to where we are, and that's a 30-minute drive. So
how far from Nashville are you?
90 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Of course, first time I was ever in Tennessee was this spring at LFT at Nicole's, right? So I'm still trying to get my bearings. I'm coming 5 days early to Camden to do a little bit of training, if you know what I mean. So
Yep.
I'm rather excited about that. So what are you, a black and yellow guy, a red and black guy, or is you all
I've
the
got
above?
I've got everything, man. I like the pack out stuff, right? And it's the pack out YouTube channels and social media channels that really got me on the pack out stuff. And I've got walls full of DeWalt stuff. I've always been a DeWalt guy. I just kind of started there. And because I already had batteries, I just continued that stuff. But then getting the pack out stuff, I'm like, well, I'll try some of the Milwaukee stuff. And my honest opinion is, I think that
better.
The fit and finish is better on DeWalt.
Yep.
The appearance is way cooler on DeWalt, but I can't tell a difference performance-wise. And all my stuff is black and red. Like everything else I own is black and red. So I kind of have both. And when I'm buying, like I'm trying to find this new M12 stuff, but I don't think it's any better than the DeWalt. I think for the money you pay when you put them side by side, it just looks better, man. It just looks more finished, right? It looks almost more futuristic.
You know what, too? Now, this is just my own personal preference, but if you're outdoors working late and it's starting to get a little dark, that yellow shows up.
Oh, yeah, good point.
I know it's just something simple, but last summer I was doing the siding, and I was looking around for my tools, and I was like, shit, everything's yellow. It all shows up for a little extra,
Yeah.
Chris Dixon says, is that going to be a drinking game every time John says pack out? So
pack out. Right.
So what do you think of that pack out? I've been drooling over that for a while.
So it's heavy.
Yeah.
Right? You can very quickly put a lot of money in there. And then like you've got these boxes, right? You've got the thick one and the narrow one. And they stack on top of each other. So this is the whole saw kit. Anything you buy pre-packed from pack out is very expensive. You could buy the tools that are not in the pack out line still by Milwaukee. It's very expensive to do this. Here is their 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch drive kit, metric standard, everything's in here. Pack out. You pay almost twice as much to get them in the pack out. And then there's several companies that will take your pack out and they'll build custom foam laser cut trays and stuff. You can also do pick apart. I'll bet there's 100 companies that have just started and all they do is aftermarket stuff for the pack out. If you look at Jacoval, he 3D prints, hangers that hold levels on the side of your pack out.
Yeah.
Cup holders. There's companies that are printing all these latches that'll have like first aid on them or little bit sign. You can really customize them to your liking. And there's guys that their whole entire companies are built around aftermarket parts for pack out. I think they're cool. They add up in weight really quickly. So once you have a couple of these pack outs, you need the pack out cart to put them on.
Right.
Or you need the pack out dolly. They're super smart, man. They built literally hundreds of things that only go with their thing. And marketing, any marketing will tell you red and black. Men buy red and black over any other color, no matter what. You don't go to a dealership and see black with yellow seats. Even Ferrari, you have to order to get the yellow stitching, right? But you can buy black and red off the floor. Chevy, Ford, GMC, Toyota, you can go in there and buy a black truck with red thread. That's because that's what men buy, all the marketing. When we put a new product up and we leave our ordering open on the initial orders, it's always multicam black with red thread, Typhon with red thread, followed by black with red thread. They could order yellow. Nobody orders yellow. They just don't.
That's crazy. I mean, it makes total sense. I get it, but it's got to be a bit of a subconscious thing, right? I don't know. Like when I ordered my wallet, of course, I was looking for something black. I wanted black, Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Totally.
And then you have companies like OmniWall. Have you ever heard of OmniWall?
No, I don't think so. we get the Iridium group in here. Just wanted to give him a shout out right quick.
Yep, we were talking about Ed earlier here before we went live. So OmniWall is like pegboard made out of metal, but it's not just normal pegboard, right? So it's slots and a hole. So you can use any pegboard accessories, and then they have all their accessories, baskets, and they have little things and all their stuff will scale out. So you can put a basket that'll hold, they have tool holders on there, right? So has racks that hold 4 of your power tools. They have power on board, so you can charge your batteries right there. And then they have baskets, so you can put cans of paint or whatever, and then you can bring them out another level with a bar, so you can put anything with pocket clips, all your tape measures and stuff on there. They're awesome, but they are so smart because they will build your unit in your colors, right? You're a DeWalt guy, you want all your stuff yellow and black, they'll do it. You want to be clean like Stormtrooper, they'll do it white and black. You want red and black, they've got it. So you mix and match, and they have these kits, right? So you can get like 4 feet by 2 feet, comes with 4 tool holders. You can get 4 by 8 feet. You can do it. You should check it out, man. It's really cool stuff.
The brain's just a spinning. I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to this whole episode so I remember everything we talk about. But so it's got like slot wall and fucking pegs in it, does it?
Let me see if I can take you over here and show you this real quick. I have a small one. I've got a brand new one here. These boxes are full of it. Here's one right here. Can we see this?
Oh yeah. Oh, I have seen something. Oh, I like that. Even just the racking and it takes regular pegs too, eh?
Yep.
Oh yeah. I like that a lot. And they'll, like you said, they'll customize, or did they keep that stuff just all the different colors in stock?
They seem to have it in stock, man. There's not much you're gonna want that I didn't ever see like purple, but the common colors they have it and it's already packaged, so you can buy a package or a piece.
Okay.
So you can add on. They have different levels of packages, but it's pretty neat.
I got to build a bigger garage. That's part of the problem. Yeah.
Especially as a content person. I had a girl here doing auto detail on Thursday, and she had a DeWalt hat on. And I said, "So are all your tools yellow?" And she's like, "Yes, I'm 100% DeWalt." I said, "How come you're not using the DeWalt vacuum?" She goes, "I just don't care for the DeWalt vacuum." I said, "Are you using the hashtags?" She goes, "I'm not." I said, "I know you have Instagram and Facebook. Are you on TikTok?" She's like, "I'm not using TikTok." I'm like, "You're losing money." I said, "If you start using these hashtags, you need to decide you're going to need to find out which one of these companies is going to interact with you."
Yep.
If they're not interacting on your social media, you should look at using a different company, right? Because as far as DeWalt's, trimmer and Milwaukee's trimmer, they're both going to cut little plants down the same way I need to. It's just I got this one because it's lighter. But which one of these companies is interacting on social media with their people? Because I've tagged DeWalt on a lot of shit, and DeWalt's never replied on any of my stuff. They've never come through and liked my post, but Milwaukee has. So, and that's the same thing with OmniWall. When I tag OmniWall on stuff, they always interact on my social media. So that's the company that I'm going to promote. That's the company that I'm going to use, and that's the company that I'll eventually ask for an affiliate link with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Becky, on a couple of occasions, she's like, "Just want to let you know, I reached out to DeWalt on your behalf." That's my wife. She's like, "Never heard back." Said, "I really wanted to surprise you." I'm like, "It's all right, Yep. But you're right. They are not very active on social, and that, they have a few guys. There's the Tour Review Zone guy and VCG or
Vince. I'm friends with Vince.
Yeah.
I actually know Vince in real life. He's been here in the building a couple times.
He's a good feller. Right? He seems like a good feller.
Yeah, he was supposed to come down to our first Self-Reliance Festival, and something happened at the last minute.
Is he kind of into the whole self-reliance lifestyle?
Yeah, he trains with Tactical Response.
No shit. That's cool. I knew there was a reason I liked him, but anyway.
Yeah, Ed. That's how I know Ed. Also, is from Ed's been here 5-6 times.
Yes, sir. Oh, well, that's all right. What's the latest tool you bought? I was going to ask you that before I forgot.
The most recent one I think we bought was this.
Tell me.
And Amanda kept hounding me about this. There's a new 12 volt out, and I don't think this is it. They have an 8-inch out, and I feel like this is bigger than 8 inches. I haven't measured it. but they have a super light hedge trimmer. And what we're using it for is all the swales that we put in. All the vegetation on them is up probably 12, 16, 18 inches right now. We put in peas. We put in, it's like a black eye pea. It's a Crowder pea. We put in sun hemp, and we put in some buckwheat. We put in buckwheat.
Nice.
So what this does is it grows up, puts a mesh in, because we don't ever tamp the berms. We basically dug 100-foot trenches. Some of them are bigger. And they're 6 feet across and about 3 feet, 24 inches in some places deep. And we took all that dirt and put it on the downhill side. And it's usually, just barely downhill. But we don't ever tamp that. What we did is we seeded it, and all that mesh of all those roots hold that in place and shade it and start putting nitrogen into the soil. So October 1st, 1st and 2nd is the Self-Reliance Festival. The day before that, Stark Brothers is sponsoring all of our plant installation, and we're putting in all the blueberries, we're putting in the daffodils, we're putting in the garlic sets, and we're putting in a bunch of trees. And basically, we planted that with all that to put nutrients into the soil. So now we'll go through and we will chop all that stuff very easily with these. We'll just shave it down to a couple inches, and then we'll use augers on hammer drills. We have these big 2-inch, 3-inch augers. We'll drill down into that loose soil, and we'll plant all those plants in place. We'll install them all right there.
Yes, sir. I love that idea of how there's nothing easier for making a nice cylindrical hole than an auger bit. Hey.
Yeah, and they're called, they use them for tulips and stuff. They literally are for gardening. Now, I've had one for probably 3 years I've been using, and we drill through rock and all kinds of stuff. It won't drill through rock. I have one that's very, very tore up, and it's still, I used it all this year to plant. I put in over 300 trees this year.
Yep. How they doing?
Little bare root trees. So it works great, man. I'm about to throw mine away. Actually, I'm going to try to sharpen it first, but I'm going to bring some new ones in.
So I hadn't seen that short little hedge trimmer that you had there. I got longer ones, 18-inch, 24-inch ones, and I got extendable ones because I do a lot of landscaping. And first off, your back thanks you for it, because now instead of this, I can stand back and do it. Yep. Easier to shape, easier to get up over top. I still do it from a ladder, but you can reach, right? And they work. I've got, what do I got? I got a hedge trimmer, I got a pole saw, chainsaw, weed whipper, push mowers, all on the DeWalt battery platform, and they work, man. I've been happy with them. Yeah,
I've got some cobalt. I've got all the cobalt stuff, and I think the cobalt stuff's fine for a condo owner, small house owner. I mowed with the mower last week. It's very, very underpowered compared to a Husqvarna gas mower, just a walk behind, self-propelled. It doesn't compete. The string trimmer is very undergunned as well. Now, Stihl and Husqvarna both have electric power tools out and have for a few years, and there's tons of professional landscapers using those. As a matter of fact, California last year banned all gas small motors. So there's districts, there's municipalities in California for the last 4 or 5 years that haven't been able to run anything gas under the homeowners association. So Husqvarna and Stihl, and I know Stihl for sure has a pole, and you just change out the power head. So you have a small chainsaw, you have a cutter, and those are very, very commercial.
I use backpack blowers up here for the snow, because when it's that friggin' cold, it's like sugar sand. You just blow it right off, right?
Yeah.
And of course, they're 2-stroke motors, and a lot of the tree huggers are really against them at this point. So it's just a matter of time until they're banned, which really sucks because they're the best tool out there. But I will say I will switch to a battery tomorrow when I can get one that'll give me, decent run time, and it'll hold up to -40 Canadian winters.
Yep. Because I've got the biggest Husqvarna backpack blower, and that thing's awesome. I've got a couple handheld 80-volt Cobalts. Nice. And that thing, when you hit the turbo on it, man, it does everything we need to do around the property here on the compound. So I'm happy with both of those. And I have a Hart who I believe Hart is. A lot of these
Walmart?
tools are made in the same factories.
Oh, absolutely.
So I have a Hart from Walmart because that's the only one I was able to get that's actually a vacuum. So I can just walk around and vacuum small leaves up around the building and stuff and kind of just clean things up.
Chicken Hawk wanted to know if you've seen the 20-volt Bauer mixer. I think Bauer's Harbor Freight, right? I've been thinking of using it with my drill.
I have not, man. I don't even know what we're talking about. A mixer, what's it do?
Must be, I don't know what it would be if we're talking. Chicken Hawk, if you want to give me a little more clarity on that. I'm not
using it with my
sure.
drill and auger. I'm not sure what a mixer does, what we're talking about.
Well, I'm wondering if it's like either a drywall mixer bit adapter, or if we're talking like a small, it can't be a cement mixer that would be 20 volt. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I don't know. I really need to buy a pressure painter, right, for painting. And I don't own one. I never have. We're about to roll all this stuff by hand.
Oh yeah.
And every time I do one of these, I'm like, man, we should just paint this thing, right?
I go through that exact same. I love to paint. I do. I love it. Straight cutting without tape. I just love it. But it takes forever. And every time I do it, I have buddies who are contractors. So like, why don't you just gear up for the sprayers? For me, I haven't done it. So there's that learning curve, and I don't want to spend the time to learn that when I already know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of sets you back when you get started because you got to spend all this time and you feel like it sets you back and you don't do as good a job the first time around. I think that's where I'm coming from.
Well, we have 3 sheds that are bare wood. Like Thompson's treated them over the years with just a weed sprayer.
Yeah.
Which means you use 10 times as much Thompson spray as you would if you just sprayed it properly. I've got hundreds of feet of 4-panel horse fencing.
Oh,
nice.
Nice.
It's made of 1x6s, and those are raw. We Thompson's those, but I just need to stain them properly, and then be done with it and paint these sheds and just be done with them.
I'm going to see if I can bring this picture up. Chicken Hawk sent it to me. This thing looks like a beast. It is. It's a mud mixer. It's a 2-handed like power mixer that's 20 volt. And I brought some Bauer gear home with me because we don't have Harbor Freight up here, right? So I filled a whole suitcase because eventually I'm going to be the only Canadian that can review Harbor Freight tools, right? But I've been impressed. I bought the little inflator, cordless glue gun, impact driver, couple of their flashlights. I've been really impressed with it for how cheap it was.
Well, we have a brand new Harbor Freight about 25 minutes from here.
Oh,
so when you're in town in October, you'll be able to grab a ton of stuff.
I'm going to take I'm driving, so I'm going to take a generator back with me this time.
Yeah.
I looked it up. Yeah, the Predator generators, they're doing killer on YouTube. They're just the views beyond any of the other generators. So I figure bring a couple home with me and do a bunch of reviews for sure. What did he say? Chicken Hawk says, tell him about the DeWalt battery adapter. Now, I don't know which adapter that would be, if that's to run different tools, because I've got a couple. I've got some for running multiple tools. Yeah, you probably have
so
one.
I have everything I'm buying is the new stuff, right? But I have a bunch of old tools that take the round packs. And there's an adapter. I know there's an adapter so that I can use this, but I'm really to the point where I don't need to do that anymore. Anything I'm going to grab, I already have that takes the new battery. So there is an adapter to use these new batteries on the old style tool. They also have an adapter. Every company at this point has an adapter you can put on this, and you can use this to charge everything USB-C. So you can charge your phone, you can charge everything. It's got to be one of those 2 things that he's talking about.
I think that's probably the one I did. If I do so many damn videos, I did one on it. I can't get it in Canada yet, but it's a 2-way charger. So it's a USB-C. You can charge your items with it, but you can also charge your DeWalt battery from a USB-C port now.
Cool.
It is awesome. Yeah. So let's see. I'll bring this up here. I can't believe it.
Well, we can mail. If you send me an Amazon link, we can get it and mail it to you, Tim.
Well, I have just recently got a Montana mailbox, and I've just, thanks to Chris Dixon, he set me up with this company that brings things across the border for you. So I think I'm set now, but it's been a fight for a long time. Now let's see if we can, let's see if we can bring that up there. Nope. Live. Can you see this, John, there when that comes up?
I see it.
So there it is. It's a big Mud mixer, that thing's a beast.
It's like a paint mixer, right? Or
Yeah.
a drywall mixer. Okay, well, I hope that I never have to do either of those things. I buy my paint and they shake it up at the store, and we typically use it right away. Like tonight, I just bought 1 gallon of paint so that I don't have to use it. I mean, I've got the spade thing that goes on the drill and everything.
I don't do a lot of that. I try to stay away from it. I occasionally lay vinyl flooring. So sometimes, you know, if I don't get it laid right away, I got to mix up the mud. Some of the, I use, and thin set, a little bit of quick set, thin set. I mix it, but yeah, I try not to either. What else we got here? Oh, Tony says to get the 9,000 Predator generator. What do you have for generators, John?
So I have a Honda EU 7500.
Okay.
Brand new one. All nice. Whisper Light, you know, all the EU series. I have a couple of 2000s, the new 2000 EU 2000 I's.
Yep.
And I wasn't worried about ganging them together and doing 4,000. Anything I'm going to run, I would just run 2,000 this way, 2,000 that way. And then I have a couple of 1,000s. I have some generics from Costco that are, you know, quiet whisper lights, and they're all inverter generators. Everything we have is inverter. We will eventually we'll probably add a big Onan or, you know, something big like Walmart has, grid tie, panel tie, natural gas. And then we'll probably run like a 12,000 kilowatt diesel on a trailer, a military, as a backup for that.
I've got mine. I got a tri-fuel Furman, and I've got an outdoor outlet I installed myself anyway, to run natural gas off of. So, you know, I don't know if you ever get this, but when on my videos, quite often you'll have people, oh, I won't use natural gas. I want to hook up my generator to that because that'll be the first thing that'll go out. And I'm like, I've lived here for 10 years. The power goes out occasionally. The natural gas has never failed. I'm not saying it won't, but it's going to be one of the last things that's going to fail in an emergency, I think.
So I said that myself up until last year when Texas froze and the damn natural gas turned off. Now, people need to realize what Tim just said. Tim has a tri-fuel generator, which means it'll run on gasoline, it'll run on nat gas, and it'll run on propane.
Yep.
Correct?
Yes.
Is it a turn of a lever to switch from natural gas to propane, or do you have to change the jets?
Nope, that's all it is. It's just a lever on the front. You turn it to that. Yeah, and it works really well.
So the most inexpensive thing to run and the stuff that you don't have to worry about storing is natural gas. Now, when you run natural gas or propane, you get about 75% of the power that you get from gasoline, but you don't have to worry about storing gasoline. If we're going to run a liquid fuel like that, and propane, I'm not talking about propane, I'm talking diesel or gasoline. You're not going to find a dual fuel or a tri-fuel that runs diesel. You're going to have diesel, or you're going to have gas, propane, gas, natural gas, or all three. So if you have a huge tank already, you know, a 500 or 1,000 propane, awesome. If you don't have that, chances are you have natural gas coming in. This is a commercial property, and we have a 2-inch natural gas main coming in here. We have a commercial meter here, so we could run off of that. And then if that dies, then we're not going to run the entire building anyways, and we will power it off multiple gen sets. And then, you know, hopefully before that ever happens, we will be dealing, you know, solar. We're setting up several smaller solar systems right now just to kind of power the tiny houses. And that's kind of why we're doing the tiny houses too. If the power did go out, this building's 16,000 square feet. We're not going to heat and control all of it. We would just do a portion of it. But I can take a 14 by 40 shed, and we can get that thing so hot off of a small firebox, like a 12 by 12 trailer firebox. That thing would cook you out of there. And then I've got dual head mini splits on them, so we can temperature control half of it, right? We could just do, you know, 14 by 20 feet of it. We don't need to heat and cool the whole thing.
Well, I had a lady, she goes by the Apartment Prepper. She come on my show a few weeks ago from Instagram, and she lives, I want to say it was on the 5th floor and in Colorado. And I asked her, I said, what are your plans for power outages? And she's on a very, very tight budget, right? So she said, well, I have a tent and I'm going to set up my tent in my living room and I'm going to heat my tent. I'm not going to heat my living room. I'm not going to heat my entire apartment. Yep. Very few people get the idea of shrinking your space in an emergency. And I love that. I got a small solar system on my garage right now. It charges 100% of my DeWalt batteries. What do I got? It's only 200 watts, but I've got 4 big batteries and I'm going to expand it, but I can run my entire garage off that. I've got it all set up now. So if I needed to, we could go out there and hang out for a while if need be.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel I watch. It's a husband and wife. I can't remember the name. I watch them all the time too, but they have a Blue Eddy system. They've got a 60, it's a 200 max. And I hold on a second.
Sure. Yeah, but as far as me, the solar will be our backup for a backup in the worst case scenario. There he is.
I bought the 200 max system. These are the panels.
Oh, the little fold-up panels. Do you like them?
They look just like these.
Yep.
And these are 8 feet long, and the system came with 3 of these. They have kickstands. They've got all the cables you need right in the pouch here. And then I bought the expanded system. So I've got the big box, and then I have 2 more battery packs that go on that thing. Now he runs he doesn't run the battery packs or anything, and he runs his whole entire new garage shed off of there where he's raising all his quail, and he does all of his machine work and stuff, all of his woodworking and stuff out there. There's no power in the building, none. He's running it completely off a Blue Eddy system.
That's crazy. Chicken Hawk that was on here before, he started with a solar system in his garage. He put one on his house now too, but for him it was just an easy setup. It's like it's better than getting it tied into the grid to start with. And have you looked at the EcoFlow systems at all?
So I was gonna buy an EcoFlow. Okay. And because Marfugal, I think that's what he uses, Marfugal News. So I went to buy it and they couldn't ship it for 90 days. And because I looked at that, the algorithms started pushing Blue Eddy. I jumped on Blue Eddy's thing, looked at theirs, and they said they would ship it Monday. I looked at a couple reviews online. If you want to see the best review channel online for this solar stuff and generators and stuff like that, solar generators, it's Hobotech.
Okay.
So Hobotech, it's a old white-haired guy with a white beard, and he wears a white lab coat and gloves. Looks silly as can be.
That's awesome.
But he takes all of these head-to-head, and he plugs in microwaves and heaters and all kinds of stuff to see truly head-to-head what they will do. And the Blue Eddy outperformed the EcoFlow.
Really? That's impressive. I think
a lot.
I think EcoFlow, and now I might be wrong about this, I think they started as a Kickstarter. And I believe that's been, how do you want to put it, part of their setbacks for a while is that they've, how Kickstarters always work, the funding comes in and then the build afterwards just seems to take so long. I think they've been a victim of their own success, I believe, as far as being able to serve their customer.
Probably so. And as far as the natural, I see guys talking comments about the natural gas.
I'll bring them up here. Yeah.
This goes back to the TikTok thing, right? Oh no, you don't want to use TikTok because it's China. I'm not worried about China doing any shit to me. I'm worried about my government doing shit to me.
Right.
And if the push really is to move if you look at the original Agenda 21, it was to push everybody from the farmland to the coastal cities, right? Whose natural gas are they going to shut off? They're going to shut off my natural gas, right? But 9 out of 10 times, well, I'm 50 years old. I've never had my natural gas shut off. So I'm going to run natural gas. It's going to cover 99% of my emergencies. When that doesn't work, I hold 600 gallons of diesel on site. I hold 550 gallons of non-ethanol gasoline. And then we've got propane also. And then, we have stuff beyond that. So hopefully, the government never shuts my natural gas off. But that's my only concern is human beings. My concern is not natural disaster.
Yeah, we, obviously I just have a house and a garage here, but our first plan is natural gas. Then I got 60 gallons of fuel. And then I've got, half dozen, maybe 8 30-pound tanks of propane out there as well. Now, the old sip and fuel if you needed to. I don't know how long I could actually run the house if I needed to off all my different fuel sources, but you absolutely. And as far as I don't live in an earthquake area. I mean, I would say wildfires on occasion, but traditionally that seems to be the two times when they will shut natural gas off during emergencies, is fires and earthquakes. Now, Iridium says when the power goes out, gas lines are still full. They take a while to empty out. In rural California, the population density is so low, the pressure will last longer than Texas. He would know too. That's really good.
He is the guy that would know. He is the guy that would know. Absolutely. So,
go ahead.
And run like a submarine, right? You're gonna run deep and quiet at night. Anybody with a generator who's ever been, if you live in a planned community, I lived in a place called Cedar Lake Estates. There was about 48 homes when we first moved here. My neighbor had a Generac generator, grid tie, and you would hear that thing even in an attenuated housing. You would hear that thing inside my house, and you would know the power's out because his generator was on. I had Honda Whisper. I mean, you'd know because the lights went out, but we knew the power was actually out, and it wasn't something with my circuit box because his was off too, because you immediately heard his generator come on. I ran Hondas, EU 1000, EU 2000s, literally 10 feet away on my back porch, and you can't hear that thing running at all. So, and we would run it back and forth. We'd go between the chest freezer and the refrigerator. So we'd run a couple hours chest freezer, a couple hours refrigerator, run the whole entire surround sound and entertainment center on the same generator. And then when we'd go to sleep, we'd unplug everything and plug in 2 window AC units and run 2 window AC units off of one of those generators. And then during the day, we'd kick it back on and put the others back on. And that was with a Honda. And you didn't hear those things run. And then they have an eco mode. You can run them down and idle them down even lower just to charge devices and stuff. And because they're pure sine wave generators, the inverters in them, they'll take care of super sensitive equipment. You won't fry them. A lot of people, I just had this conversation with a friend the other day, and I said, you want a Honda generator, get an EU 2000 to start with. You're going to want probably multiples over time. But with the 2000, you can do a lot with it. But even if you got a 1000, your daughter could still move it around. And you can do a lot. You'll just have to change back and forth. But with those, so he sent me a link, and I go, no, that's a job site generator. It's going to be ridiculously loud, and you can't plug sensitive electronic devices into those. It'll fry them.
I've got mine's a big Furman, and one of the big complaints a lot of people said is that it's a little bit on the loud side. I've done audio testing on it to see what it's like. When I'm in the house with the door shut, I still can't hear it. And when I did a test, clandestine test with my audio meter, it wasn't any louder from a reasonable distance than my neighbor's diesel truck when he starts it up in the morning. So now somebody mentioned this. I was going to mention it. Evan said you can also recharge your solar batteries on generator to extend your fuel service life. Yep. And the submarine approach as well. Charge your batteries, run them off at night so that the ne'er-do-wells don't know about your generator necessarily.
Yep. And that's why we added the solar generators. I think the solar generator is great. We can charge it off the wall when the power goes out. All the batteries are full, so we've got that initial charge. I've got 2 extra batteries in addition to the unit, which is the battery itself. So I can put one box in one truck, one box in another, and then and we can move 3 trucks at the same time with power to recharge whatever with them. We have solar panels so that we can recharge them with solar panels, and then we can hook them to a generator, and they'll literally charge from any power source.
And you're talking about the inverter generators. Not everybody catches on to that either, because you do have to. Mine is not an inverter generator, and the power's a little bit on the dirty side. So I wouldn't plug in things that, let's put high dollar items, because some of the LED lights kind of, they do the winky thing. They work great. And so you were talking about the 75% fuel thing, or power thing for between propane, natural gas, and gas. So mine is 9,500 watts. It peaks at 9,500 on gasoline, and it won't run my 2-ton central air because of that huge spike. So I just bought a soft start that I'm going to teach myself how to install. So we'll see if that works.
Right. And be aware, a lot of people, like if you're heating with a propane heater, you have a wall mount unit or something. A lot of those require electricity to run them. Whereas Mr. Heater, who makes the Buddy heater,
Oh,
Makes
yes.
a wall unit. It's about $250. Hangs on the wall. It's ventless. So all you have to do is run natural gas line or a propane line to it. And then it has a striker like a barbecue to fire it off. So you push it in, and it's got dual catalytic converters on it, just like the buddy heater. It's like a big flat buddy heater, goes on your wall, and it will cook you out of that. It'll cook you out of whatever room you have it in. We use them I have a snake trailer. I used to breed reptiles. So I had an old mobile home, not sealed very well at all, just an old mobile home. It was 16 feet by 76 feet wide. So we had one on each wall. We never fired them both. We would fire on low. If I put it on medium, it would make it so hot in the main big area there that it would literally kill animals. It was so hot in that room. And that was coming off. We have that on a natural gas feed. You can buy those at Tractor Supply. You can buy them anywhere, really. And they cost about $250, and they require zero electricity to run those.
Wow. What are they about the size of an instant hot water heater, or the on-demand hot water? They're about like a phone book size?
Probably, I'd say they're 24 inches by maybe 20 inches, 20 by 24 maybe.
How deep?
6 inches, if that.
Jeez, wow! For $250.
Yeah, you can get them freestanding also.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone else in the preparedness community talk about those items. I'm always looking for shit like that for us here because
I have two of them brand new in boxes in the closet right now.
Yes,
and we have two of them a quarter mile up the road in the old trailer.
2 is 1, 1 is none.
Yeah.
That 3 is a guarantee.
I buy kerosene heaters every year, and I buy buddy heaters every year. Inevitably, we'll have somebody move here, and we're like, "Hey, you need to get these things for the winter," and they won't. So we have them.
Do you keep a lot of your employees live on site or no?
Not a lot of them. Some of them do.
Okay.
And then others live close here.
I got another question here. This one's from DeBert. Can you fill tanks from the pipeline? If the grid goes down, can you use a reclaim pump into a tank? Now,
I don't know. What are we talking? Are we talking natural gas or are we talking propane?
So, yeah, that's a good question because propane, I have seen some redneck gears that people have set up on their 500-pound or whatever tanks that they've managed to be able to fill their tanks. Now, I did some small research into refilling or storing natural gas, but it didn't sound very feasible to me. I don't know. I'm definitely not recommending it, but I haven't looked into it a whole lot.
I've not heard of it done, but I've never looked into it either. I know that guys will take barbecue tanks and fill 1-pounders. And I know guys fill barbecue tanks off of bulk tanks like 250s and 500s. But as far as natural gas, I don't know the answer to that. I've never pursued it.
I haven't either. I fill a lot of the 1-pounders with the 20-pound tanks, and that works really slick. I enjoy that quite a bit.
Do you freeze them first?
I do, yep. Yeah. And then I use a scale too, just to kind of make sure that I didn't overfill. And do you guys use the thermocells? Do you know those mosquito repellents with the little pads? So I've been refilling the butane cartridges in them because they're god awful expensive. So I filled, after my podcast on Thursday night, I filled 10 of them for $3 worth of butane in 15 minutes.
Wow.
So, and up here, 10 of those would be $60. So for me, that's a good use of my time. Not always, but certain things you got to figure out what your time's worth.
Right. We keep a lot of jet boil canisters.
Oh yeah.
On hand. We buy those. I like to buy a whole entire case so that I have the case with the dividers and stuff, which it's hard to find, but we hit Sports Authority, or not Sports Authority, Sports Academy. We hit them pretty frequently. And whenever we see a whole box, I buy the whole box of it.
I do the same thing. I try to buy everything in full case because the friggin' boxes fit on the shelf. And then,
yep, exactly. Yeah. And they stack. I try to buy everything in bulk. My real goal is to buy enough that they will put it in the truck with a forklift so that we can remove it with a forklift. So, because it's like moving lumber. If you got to move lumber, you're moving it, 2-3 sticks at a time. Whereas if they put it in the trailer, we just take it off out of the trailer. It's just dollars per minute. I try to divide everything into what it costs per minute if I have to touch it.
What do you use for unloading? Do you have a forklift or just a skid steer?
We have a skid steer but we have forks. So we have the hydraulic, we have the auto dumps, right? So we can just change all of our tools
Nice.
We just drive up, it releases automatically. We back up, go to the next one, put the rack on. So like this building here is 2 stories. We built this deck up top here so the railing comes off. Like I move gym equipment with the skid steer. I can get it all the way up there. I can put Cody in the bucket and we can get up to the 14-foot gutters here and we can just clean them out and just drive down as we're cleaning them out. So we do everything with the skid steer.
And they're way more versatile, and they're quite a bit better on uneven terrain than a standard forklift as well.
Anything with tracks is safer. Anything with tracks tends to do less damage, I think.
Yes, absolutely. What would you end up buying? Because I popped into your live, I think it was last night, and you were talking about it a little bit, but you'd said you'd rented one for quite a while, or was that the excavator?
So we rented an excavator and a skid steer for 2 years. And I could have literally paid for both of them in those 2 years. I currently own an SVL 75 Kubota.
Okay.
It's a 75 horsepower, but it comes in at 74, so I don't have any def on it. I don't have to worry with any def. Closed cab, and then I've got a bunch of different tools for the front of it. And that thing's awesome, man. I got super wide, low pressure tracks on it, rubber tracks. And we use it every day. Like I'll literally drive it around the building here to the roll-up door just to take the trash out with. What's
your favorite attachments for it? What do you like the best?
Well, we use the bucket, man. I use the forks probably more. Like we unload semi trucks with it all the time. Everything comes in on pallets.
Nice.
So they dolly it to the edge. We grab it and move it wherever. Like we just bought bundles of pine shavings from Tractor Supply.
Okay.
And they come on a pallet, man. It's huge, right?
Yep.
So the chick gets on her thing and puts it in the trailer. We drove back here super slow because the wind's trying to blow it over. But once we got here, we just pick it up with a skid steer and then put it in the hay barn. So we just try to buy everything to where we can just do it with forks.
I used to work at a hardware store, spent about a decade there. That's how I get into some of this. And you're talking about driving super slow. I had 2 guys come in one night and they wanted 2 sheets of drywall, and they had a VW, is it a Jetta? Just them little tiny, right? So I'm like, okay. So I asked them, how are you taking it? And they said, on the roof. I said, oh, okay, I'll help you, right? I'll help you tie it down. Nope. So they said, we're good. They both hopped in and each put one hand on the 2 sheets, and coastal Nova Scotia, you can imagine. 5 minutes. They didn't even make it 5 minutes out of town. So I don't understand what some people think.
I would think that the wind and the harmonics would just crack that stuff, man.
They said it just went off like a sail.
I saw a video of a guy was having them put wood on the top of something. I don't know what it was, a Subaru Forester or something, right? One of those. Like I didn't buy a truck, but I want to be, a truck guy.
Yep.
They forklifted something onto the roof, and it literally caved his shit down about 6 inches.
You imagine the conversation with the wife, and honey, we used to have a truck, and now we have an
right. And the guy was telling him, he's like, hey, I wouldn't do this. No, I've done it a bunch of times. It's okay, man. And it did. It creased the whole line down.
Well, I've got a Ram 1500. It doesn't have anything special for shocks. My brother-in-law said I needed to put airbags in it, airbag suspension. So anyway, I ordered a lift, a full lift of sod last year. And I thought, it's a Ram 1500. Well, I went up to pick it up. That was the sketchiest 1-hour drive I have ever. No word of a lie. I actually stopped halfway home, unloaded about 15 rolls of sod and put them in the front passenger seat just so I felt more comfortable.
Yeah.
It was scary. I'll never do it again. So now
Yep. We've pulled up. I've got a 5x10 and a 6x12 trailer. We've pulled up and they got about 3-foot sides on them, right? And they're compression metal on the back deck. We've pulled up and loaded them with firewood and not paid attention and gone to pull away, and it's flattened the tires. We'll have to unload half of it, drive the firewood home, come back and get the other half of the load. It literally just flat to the ground.
I used to burn firewood in Nova Scotia, and I didn't have a lot of money when we first started doing this kind of stuff. So I bought whatever I could buy for a trailer. We just had it was like a 4x8 plywood side trailer. We had it loaded down. We were coming home around a corner. All of a sudden the tire just flies right off.
Yep.
We were a half an hour fine. It went down in a strawberry farm and landed right between 2 barrels. And what do you do with a load of wood in the middle of the road and you lose a tire? It was fun.
Yeah, we just picked up a pallet of concrete block, cinder blocks,
Oh, that's
in
heavy.
the same trailer, right?
Yep.
So I'm looking at it, and I go, "You think we can get home?" And Cody goes, "We don't have any choice but to get home." But luckily, it's like 2 miles, right? So we're driving real slow. Luckily, the rim didn't cookie cutter the tire.
Oh my God. People don't appreciate the heft of concrete, no matter what. I mean, it just, yeah, there's no getting around. Exodus Survival asks, for a skid steer, worth it to buy new or just go with used?
So you're buying someone else's problems if you buy it used, and you're relying on the guy you're buying it from to tell you the truth, right? Just because you check the oil and the oil's fresh, that doesn't mean he didn't run 1,000 hours on the same oil and just add oil, right? I really don't have any way of knowing. Most of these places, Kubota has 0% interest all the time, which is weird because Kubota does these leases on commercial equipment constantly, but you never see it for sale used. I don't know where it goes to. So they do these leases. And when you go to buy a skid steer, a lot of them don't say what year they are, right? So I bought mine last year. So in theory, it's a 21.
Yep.
But is it really? And there's not a lot of differences between them from, 2018 to 2020, 2022. I would say get whatever you have the best support in your area for. And I made a post on my public social media for special operations equipment, said I need a skid steer. And the Kubota dealer over here, the dude got with me. He's like, "Hey, I own some of your products. Come see me." Nice. And we did. And they totally took care of us. And we've done great business with Coleman Tractor. So I got friends with John Deere and Caterpillar. And Caterpillar is very expensive parts-wise and maintenance-wise. But it's what you see up and down the freeways, right? If it's big commercial, they're running Caterpillar. Bobcat also. I got friends with Bobcat. Bobcat's very expensive to maintain compared to Kubota. And then if I would also tell you, look in your local area at the rental guys and see what they're running, because I probably shouldn't be putting this out there. I've got a dude that maintains the rental fleets over here that comes over to my place on the weekends and maintains my stuff. Nice. And they rent Kubota and they rent Takeuchi and other things. So talk to the guy that's near you that's going to maintain your stuff if that's not you.
So how do you decide? Because that's I've done the math, and for me right now, just renting a skid steer is worth it because I don't use it yet for what it's worth. So how do you decide that it's worth making a $70,000 purchase?
So it depends, right? Do you have to have closed cab? I wouldn't buy a piece of equipment that didn't have closed cab.
Right.
They've got great heat and they've got great air, and you're enclosed, and you can use. I can be in my shorts.
Yep.
When it's Sandals. 20 degrees outside, inside that thing with the heat blasting. So yeah, it is about $70,000. Now on $70,000, what are you going to put down on it, and what are your monthly payments on that thing? So let's say the monthly payments are $1,000, right? Let's say you're putting $1,000 about on the payments of that thing. Can you not make $1,000 with that thing? If you own it, could you just put on Marketplace or on Craigslist, "Hey, I'm local, I have this," right? And then what equipment do you have for it? If you have and I intentionally bought high flow. I got high flow. It was an extra $5,000, I think, to have high flow put on the tractor when I bought it. And they say they can't do it after the fact. So they built my tractor when I bought it, and I had it a couple days later. I can run a forestry mulcher head with that thing. I can literally drive up to 6-inch and 8-inch trees, and it will just pulverize them down. And I drive up, and it just turns everywhere I go through the woods into a wood mulch trail, right? You can mountain bike it. It's great for running razors. It's great for game trails. If you have a piece of property, especially inexpensive property has always been logged. That's why it's inexpensive. So $1,000 an acre, $2,000 an acre property, it's just shit. It's brambles and it's twigs, and it's so tight you can't walk through there. With a forestry mulcher, you can just drive. You can do a hole in a day. You can do a few acres just running back and forth. And when you're done, you just have wood mulch covering the dirt. The biggest thing with soil is you never want raw soil. And if you don't put something there, Mother Nature is going to put some shit there you don't want. So if you forestry mulch this whole thing and then go through and seed it, you now have control of the property. You're not going to have, you're going to have usable property, number one, somewhat, and you're going to be able to see what's there, and then you can put what you want there. And it's not just a tangled mess that's going to cut you and try to lay eggs in you and just, do some shit you don't want to do. Now you have something you can go in and put trees, or you can put animals on pasture once you get grass growing.
So for those high flow hydraulics, right? That's what you're talking about? Yeah. For anybody. Yeah. Is that the only attachment that requires high flow, or are there other ones too?
There's other ones. A lot of the cutters and rotary stuff does. Yeah.
So that works like a bush hog then, does it? Almost, except it
way better than a bush hog. A bush hog kind of just tears it up.
Yeah.
A forestry mulcher is a drum with these teeth on it, and you just roll right up. It's up and it's in the front instead of having to be down. But I mean, you're talking a difference of $3,500 compared to $60,000. A forestry mulcher head is expensive. You can rent them a lot of places too if you already have the equipment.
Do you have I know you guys have a lot of rocks down there. Do you have a post hole auger for yours or not?
I do.
Does it work good?
Yes, we blew it up last year drilling.
Yeah.
We have a 12-inch. Jeff has a 24-inch. Scully's got a 24-inch on his Kubota tractor.
Okay.
And then I have a 12-inch. Now, this was a gravel pit. We drilled, I think, 11 holes. And then on the last one, it broke. So we had just, Kubota brought it to us. It's Land Pride. That's their brand. Okay. And we took it back over. They fixed it, repaired it, didn't charge us nothing for it. Now it's running again. It works fine.
What happened? Just hit a big boulder or something that wouldn't move?
Blew the whole gear mechanism out of there. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know why. Well, yeah, we were drilling rock.
Do you, so how often do you run into problems drilling there? Or is it not that bad?
So that's the first real problem we've ran into. We have a 35 horsepower John Deere tractor that has an auger on the back. Okay. And I just bought a cheapy auger like from Tractor Supply. And I think it's like maybe a 6 or 8 inch auger, right? Well, it drills fine, but the tractor doesn't have enough ass to undrill. So it literally, I need weight on the front of the tractor. So it drills down, picks the front of the end of the tractor off the ground, and you had to undo it, undo the shear bolt, and then put a breaker bar and undo the hole. So we actually had better luck using a 2-man portable.
Yep.
And just drilling with that thing. But with the skid steer now, where we're drilling fence lines and stuff, it's easy, man.
I've joked with Jack a couple of times because up here we did 21 holes in my backyard with a 2-man and never hit a single rock. And to clean out the bottom of them, I used a shop vac because it's just pure soil.
Jack could totally do what he wants to do if he needs a big excavator, right? You need a 175 or above. When we dug the big pond in the back, we dug it with a 175 and a 45. Okay, so that's a real machine on metal tracks.
Yeah.
But when we hit rock, we put a jackhammer head on it. Like if you got high flow on it, it'll run a jackhammer. And like Jack could totally do whatever he wants to do if he brought in a big piece of equipment for a day and knew what he wanted to do with a jackhammer on the head. He could jackhammer in and do what he wants to do.